Greetings, everyone. I hope that you are doing well. My name is Tamoy Campbell. I am Miss Kingston and St. Andrew Festival Queen, and today I will serve as your moderator for this Science in BEA webinar series. Now, Science in BEA stands for Beauty, Environment, and Agriculture. And this session promises to be both informative, insightful, and giving you the opportunity to open your minds to different areas where STEM-related activities and careers can come to the forefront and be options that you can consider in pursuing your academic and career ventures. But of course, this will not be spearheaded by me. We have a panel of distinguished speakers who will be leading the charge in both beauty, in areas such as beauty, environment, and agriculture. I'll tell you shortly, we have Ms. Latanya Ragaber, who will be speaking on science and beauty, Aziz Toby Abubakar, who will be speaking on environment, and last but definitely not least, Mr. Lance Scott, who will be wrapping up the conversation to be speaking to us about science in agriculture. Questions will be posed to the speakers, but please feel free to put your questions in the chat should you have any, and when we are at the Q&A time, you'll definitely be hearing all the answers to your questions. Now, just before we go into the rest of the discussion, I'm going to invite to the virtual stage Mr. Silvano Davey. He is from Lennon High School, and he is the president of the SSTS, which stands for Schools, Science and Technology Society, and it governs all the science and technology clubs in primary schools and in high schools. So Mr. Davey, I know you're here on the virtual platform. Please come onto the stage now and please give us your opening remarks. Over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Silvana Davey. I just want to welcome you all to this our virtual webinar series, Science in B. We're indeed grateful for this turnout, and we hope that by the time this meeting is over, you will all be well educated and well aware of what this is all about. I also want to extend a warm welcome to our speakers and also to Ms. Campbell, who will be our host today. So I just want you guys to be attentive and learn well. Blessings.
Blessings. Thank you so much, Mr. Davey. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone here huddled on Zoom land, you're here for a treat. But of course, I know you're probably wondering, what is Science in BEA all about? What are the aims and objectives? What are we here to discuss? And leading us through that, this part of the discussion this afternoon is none other than Miss Justine Hope. She's the SSTS Regional Vice President for the Eastern Region, representing Immaculate Conception High School. So over to you, Miss Hope.
Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, students, members of the Scientific Research Council, and of course, our esteemed panelists. So as said, my name is Justine Hope, and I am the Eastern Regional Vice President. And on behalf of the entire SSTS, especially the Eastern Regional Executive, I extend my own welcome to you all, and I hope that everyone, even our panelists, will have an evening of fun, education, and enlightenment as we proceed with our program.
No energy. That the one, the big guy. No, I'm not doing.
Oh, Justine, you're muted.
Oh, I apologize. Was my mic muted from the beginning?
No, just a little bit, but we're hearing you know. I think you're you were thanking the Eastern region, and you can pick up from there.
All right. Okay, yes. So on behalf of the entire Eastern Regional Executive, I extend my own welcome to you all. And I hope that everyone, even our panelists, will have an evening of fun, education, and enlightenment as we proceed with our program. Now, what is Science in B? So B stands for Beauty, Environment, and Agriculture. So when planning our project proposals for the Eastern region, my assistant, Vice President Michael, and I knew that this project had to be first on the agenda. So our experiences interacting with persons of our age group and similar, and just realizing the advantages we had simply by attending different schools led to the planning and execution of this event. Too many of poor Jamaican students think that they have no place in STEM, and specific to this event, no place in science. Many are not aware of the opportunities available for them, apart from the regular scientist or engineer or doctor. We hope that by hosting Science in B, you will all feel empowered and motivated to pursue areas in science. Those areas that are underrepresented, underdeveloped, or just simply unknown. We hope to kindle a flame in someone, maybe even everyone, or to just think outside the box, look beyond the things that are placed in front of us, to take calculated risks, to ask questions, and to seek guidance. Panelists here today are experienced persons who can guide you. So invite you to take full advantage of the evening. All in all, this event aims to develop awareness of scientific issues, to find ways to combat these issues. We hope by hosting this event that we will help to develop and hone the critical thinking and conceptualizing skills of students when problems surrounding science and technology, especially in Jamaica, arise. We also hope to develop students' interest in the areas of science and technology in the virtual space, and how to manipulate this medium to attain the highest possible level of knowledge and opportunities within these areas. Change in Jamaica begins with you. You have already made the first step by coming to this event, and we can only hope, we do hope, that you continue along your journey. And the Scientific Research Council and the entire School Science and Technology Society is here to guide you in every step of the way. So please listen keenly. Feel free to ask questions when it is time to do so. This is a safe space, and don't be afraid to reach out to us. But before we begin, I know this is a slight turn in events or change in events, but I do invite Michael to introduce an activity that we'll be conducting a bit later on in the evening.
Okay, thank you, Justine. Again, just to introduce myself, my name is Michael Koch. I attend Kingston College and I'm the Eastern Region Assistant Vice President, assistant to Justine Hope. So later on in this conference, we'll be having an activity known as Controversial Opinions. Now, I'm sure, as you all know, at the heart of science is rigorous discourse, regardless of the topic, no matter how mundane or controversial it is. And we, today, this evening, want to have the most controversial discussion we can. So I will be sending a few topics, questions that you can express your ideas on anonymously. And I'll be sending a telonym in which you can submit those ideas. And then later on, we can go through them together. Okay?
Okay, we hear you, Michael. Thank you so much. Justine, were you going to wrap up, or is that it from you?
Yes, I was just going to say once again, everyone, please do enjoy.
Thank you so much, Justine, and thank you so much, Michael. And I think everybody here is definitely going to enjoy what we're going to be doing this afternoon. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be starting off with Science in Beauty. And this discussion will be led by Miss Latanya Ragbear. I'm going to invite to the virtual stage Miss Praise Campbell from Received High School to come and give her introduction of our first speaker, Miss Ragbear. Over to you now, Praise. Praise, are you with us? All right, no problem. Perhaps Praise is having just a few technical difficulties, so I'll go ahead and introduce our first speaker. And that is, as I said, Miss Latanya Ragbear. She is a certified project management professional who completed her Bachelor's of Science degree in animal biology at the University of the West Indies, Mona. Now, Latanya is an entomologist based at Organic Growth Holdings Incorporated, known as OGH. And this is in the United States of America, which is registered in Florida. Now, OGH has a branch here in Jamaica, and its mandate is to develop, manage, own, and operate agribusinesses on the island of Jamaica. Latanya is also the founder and CEO of Ragbear's Salon. So ladies and gentlemen, in our Zoom land, please give some virtual round of applause to our first speaker, Miss Latanya Ragbear. Over to you now, Miss Ragbear.
Hello, everyone. How is everyone today? One second. Are you guys seeing my screen?
I'm not seeing your screen, Miss Ragbear.
1 second. Just sorry.
So we're seeing it now.
Okay. So hello again, everyone. Thank you for having me at the Science and Beauty and Environment and Agriculture panel. So as you know, my name is Letany Ragbear, and as seen on the screen, I am the CEO of Ragbear Hair Salon, located at 12.5 Hope Road, Kingston 10. So we specialize in doing hair, nails, and spa treatments, right? So I'm just gonna get right into it. And my topic today is gonna do a brief introduction to hair and the science of hair care products, right? So just some facts about hair. So hair grows from the pockets in the skin, which is the follicle. And there are about 100,000 hair in a human head. The hair fiber grows around 0.4 millimeter per day. And it varies from round through to very oval. So in Asians, East Asian, as you can see on the picture over here. Oh, I'm sorry, I lost that. My apologies. So as you can see on the picture, the fiber cross section is a little bit more round in East Asia, and a little bit more oval in the Europeans, and in Africans, it is much more oval shape, right? So hair grows in repeated 5 to 7 year life cycle. And each cycle has 3 phases. The anaphase, which is the growth phase. So 90% of the hair on the scalp is in a growth phase, and it lasts from 2 to 6 years. The second phase that come after is the cartigen, which is the transitional phase, and about less than 1% of the hair on the scalp is in this phase. The telogen phase is basically the resting phase, and at the end of 3 to 4 months, you know, the hair will fall out and a new hair follicle will grow, and then the cycle begins again. So there's 100 to 200 hair loss each day. And as we know, baldness is more than likely in men to be genetically determined. Hair color is also genetically determined. So this is a picture of the hair follicle. And as you can see, the hair is growing from the sebaceous gland, and it come out of the skin surface. So hair is a dead substrate once it emerges from the hair follicle. This is another picture of the complexity of the hair structure. And hair is composed of 91% protein, 4% lipid, and 4.7% sulfate, 1% sugar, and 4% melanin, which gives the hair the color, right? So the lipid bilayer covalently bond to the hair structure, and this is what this picture is showing. You have a chemical called 18-methyloxanic acid, which is the 18-MEA. This gives a new hair the hydrophobic feature. And this chemical can be lost due to the sunlight, or if the hair is chemically treated or bleached in any way, right? So this picture is showing the hydrophobic nature of hair, which has not been chemically treated, versus a hydrophilic nature of the hair, which has been bleached or oxidatively colored. So the picture on the right, you can see it's natural human hair. No chemical has been on this hair. And you can see that the hair is not absorbing the water. So the water is basically sliding off. So the hair, we call that the hair is hydrophobic. While the other picture on the left, the water absorbed into the hair due to the lipid bilayer having been removed, making the hair more hydrophilic. So the water is being absorbed by the hair because it might have been bleached. So major hair products type. So we have our shampoos, and our shampoos can be non-conditioning or the 2-in-1 condition or the dry condition, the one that you don't even have to wet your hair. You just spray it on there and you go. You have conditioners, the rinse off, the leave-in conditioners, and the serums. And you have your styling agents like your hair sprays, your mousses, your gels, your lotions, waxes, and so forth. You have your styling treatment, which is your hair relaxer, your permanent wave relaxer or straightener. And then you have your colorants. All right, so the purpose of the shampoo is to clean the hair and the scalp of serum, dirt, and the styling products, and remove odoriferous materials. The secondary function is condition the hair. So it gives compatibility, and compatibility meaning that it is easy for the comb to go through the hair. It gives softness, protection from damage and shine, and it gives body or volume and makes the hair smell pleasant. And each of us wants our hair to smell good. So as you can see this picture, you can see the sebum and the styling product are usually the major soil on the hair. So this is what the shampoo takes off. All right, so hair conditioner now. Like I said before, you have your 2-in-1, your rings conditioner, your leave-in conditioner. And some of the benefits is it improves the compatibility. It improves fiber alignment to give shine. It reduces static flyaway, and it inhibits mechanical damage, right? So the hair is not too dry and it's not breaking as easy. So this picture is basically showing the positively charged cationic surfactant. Electrostatically bind to the negatively charged hair surface, and it resides on the hair after the condition is rinsed off. So if we all know what fatty acid looks like, the fatty chain, you know that the head is the hydrophilic part of the fatty chain. So which means that it does not like water, right? And the chain itself is a hydrophobic part of the chain. And this just dramatically reduces the friction on the hair, improve the compatibility, it improves the fiber alignment to give shine, it gives a softer feel, and it reduces the static flyaway, like I said before, and the mechanical damage. So now our styling agents. So you have a plethora of different type of styling agents with different chemistries, a lot of different product formations. And the styling products basically are polymers. It dries on the hair and it temporarily hold the fibers together to hold the hair in a desired style. While the styling treatments such as our straighteners or relaxers, it involves multiple chemistries that reacts with the hair. And this is more of a permanent reconfiguration to maintain the desired new style, right? Whether it is a permanent curl or permanently straight. This picture is a little bit blurry, but I hope we can all see it. And this picture is basically showing all right, so this is the chemical bond in the hair. As you can see, it is disulfide bonds holding the sulfate together on the protein chain. Once it is chemically treated, the bond becomes broken and the hair configuration changes. Same with the curling process. If you permanently curl the hair, the configuration is going to change. And if you try to neutralize it, it becomes the disulfide bond breaks basically. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on this. It's just an introduction with the permanent straighteners in Afro hair relaxers. And this is the chemistry behind this. So unlike perming chemistry, the treatment is a one-stop and the result is irreversible once you process the hair. You can note here that the permanent wave chemistry is not as strong enough to break the necessary number of sulfide bonds to give a good effect. So it needs about 30 to 40% comparing to 20% of the permanent chemistry. So the relaxing products are formulated as very thick creams to hold the hair straight during the treatment. This is also a Brazilian keratin hair permanent straightening treatment. And this is also the chemistry. On the right-hand side, it shows the hair protein chain untreated. And then once it is treated, the hair protein chain cross-link by the methylene group to form formaldehyde. This product started to hit the market in 2007. The product on the market contain up to 4% formaldehyde, but is not allowed in Europe. The exact mechanism of effect is not exactly known, but is heat mediated. Can apparently be used on both Caucasian and Afro hair types. The authorities really trying to, it is illegal basically on the high levels of the formaldehyde use, and other safety hair reaction treatment has been identified, but is not as effective. So in conclusion, the hair structure is very complex. It varies from persons to persons. A number of different products are needed to clean, condition, style, and bleach the hair. The chemical analysis of the hair is needed to choose the right amount of perming solution and the right amount of time for the chemical to break the disulfide bond because of the varying in complexity of the hair from person to person. And before choosing a product, you should do your research, right? Or consult a hair professional from Ragbear Hair Salon, if so be the case. And that is the end. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ragbear. We absolutely appreciate and love the presentation. Very informative. I was here taking a few notes. A couple things went over my head just a little bit because I'm not in the science space. So the formaldehyde things, they were kind of lost on me. But then as you proceeded, it became a lot clearer. I guess I know we all understood that we need to use shampoo and conditioner, how it works, taking out all the things where hair comes from. So we were definitely informed, and we don't want you to go anywhere because we're going to have our Q&A panel discussion, and we have a lot of questions that we want you to answer for us. So thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, that was our first presentation on Science in Beauty by Miss Latanya Ragbear. All right, so we're making our way to our next stop, and we're going to talk about science, but in the environment context. And I'm going to invite to our virtual stage none other than Mr. Kimani Bennett from Kingston College to introduce our second speaker. So Kimani, if you're here, please come onto the microphone and please introduce our second speaker. All right. I don't see Kimani, but we press along, and I will be doing the honor of introducing our second speaker, and that is none other than Mr. Aziz Toby Abubakar, and I hope I'm getting it correctly. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're international over here. We have someone here all the way representing Nigeria, and trust me, accolades are not lost on Mr. Abubakar, because Aziz is a young and vibrant professional who is passionate about sustainable development, innovation, and technology. He has a practical, hands-on approach and always perseveres to achieve the best results. He's able to collect and analyze information quickly, grasp complex technical issues, and he has a diverse range in the field of engineering and design-driven entrepreneurship with problem-solving skills and the ability to work effectively on a team and adapt quickly to multicultural projects. So in essence, he's the best of the best in what he's doing. He has a proven ability to manage and complete tasks in the highest standard of time. Now, he's also a researcher exploring the use of generative design and BIM to exploit conceptual design, innovation, and virtual reality VR for real-time visualization and at the early design phase of a project to increase energy efficiency, lower carbon emissions, lower overall project costs, and deliver projects faster. Now, he has received awards for his work in the areas of smart cities, BIM, and digital construction. He's currently working to publish his work in smart cities, just give me a minute, please. All right. He is currently working on improving his work in smart cities on innovative governance of large urban systems. And he's enthusiastic about leveraging emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and machine language, extended reality, the Internet of Things, and other disruptive technologies in the industry. And it gets even better. He has participated in several BIM advocacy events and construction exhibitions in Nigeria and Kenya. Also, he has got an excellent project management experience working on the Dangote fertilizer project, and he leads and co-leads a number of teams in youth-led NGOs around the world with a focus on achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, by 2030. He speaks at local and international conferences in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen on Zoomland, please welcome to our virtual stage our panelist, Mr. Aziz Abubakar. Over to you.
All right, thank you so much for that long introduction. My name is Aziz, just like you've said. I'm the current policy and advocacy chair of the Commonwealth Youth Climate Change Network. And I've had the opportunity to work with young people like myself to co-create climate initiatives that help us achieve net zero by 2030. And today I'm going to be talking about science in environment. What's really science in environment? When we talk about science in environment space, what does it really entail? So let's jump right into it already. So when you talk about science in environment space, we start to talk about the Earth systems, we talk about our natural environment, our natural resources, and really how Earth works. How does the world work? Like, how does biodiversity interrelates with other issues around environments? How does the ocean help in ecosystem overall? What are the roles that all of these natural resources play in achieving a sustainable future? So or might have heard about climate change. Climate change, it's been the top of the discussion for several years now. And but what is climate change? What does climate change mean? Climate change happened as a result of human activities. And we basically caused this. We caused this climate change issue. And what it really entails is we ended up creating more carbon than we ought to produce. And we've released it to the environment. And one thing about carbon is that carbon traps heat. And when we release carbon, a huge ton of carbon to the environment, because of the heat trapping capability of carbon traps a lot of heat from the sun and causes global warming. So a lot of you might have heard about global warming also. So it causes global warming. Global warming causes these effects on all the natural environments. So like, for instance, the ice in the polar regions of the world, that's in the North Pole and the South Pole, start to melt at a very, very faster rate. I'm not saying they don't melt, they do melt, but as a result of human activities, they start to melt at a faster rate, and then it's causing sea level rise. So now we have more flooding than usual. We have more flooding than ever in the world today. So, and it continues to increase every year as global warming continues to rise. And that is why it is key that we cut down our emissions. We must cut down our carbon emissions. That is, developed countries who have released and continue to release carbon emissions must cut and achieve net zero by 2030. So the United Nations has identified climate change as a challenge, as a global crisis, and is urging developed countries, that is member countries particularly, to cut down on their emissions because they are the biggest polluters out there. So countries like the US, China, Russia, India, these are the biggest polluters out there. And the sad news is that the least contributors, especially from the global South countries, in South America, in Africa, suffer the most from the effects of climate change. So we have more flooding affecting people already living in extreme poverty, for instance, in an African country. And this is a huge challenge. This is so unfair to developing countries. And that is why someone who has just grown passion in that area, and I'm seeking what we call climate justice. So I want to see justice on these issues. I want to see big polluters, deliver the radical action that we so desperately need to address climate change. And that is why, that's how my journey and passion and career started in the environment and climate change space and sustainability generally. So, and I had the opportunity to serve as the policy and advocacy chair of the Commonwealth Youth Climate Change Network. That is led by Lenka Rodin, who is the current Pan-African, Pan-Commonwealth rather, CYCN coordinator. And in this organization, an NGO, or non-profit, otherwise known as a non-profit, it's a youth-led organization, and we're really working with young people. We're bringing in young youths' perspectives into the discussion. And we've been able to co-create and lead climate sustainability projects. And I also would like to encourage you to venture into this career path. The truth of the fact is that everything is risky, and you just have to take the risk to achieve the greatness you want to achieve. So I'm really encouraging all young people out there, our audience, the people tuning in and listening to me right now. The truth of the fact is that initially it could seem very unclear. You may not be sure of what you want to do and how you want to move forward. But the truth of the fact is that you need to identify that no action is too small to make a difference. So start that thing, start that idea you have. It could be as simple as encouraging your friends to make climate eco-friendly lifestyle changes. So that could be your starting point. That could be your journey into the advocacy and policy around climate. So I hope I've not taken too much time, but I hope I've been able to really encourage and embrace you to join and move in the direction of science as it deals with environment. So we have the profession. You could venture into profession such as conservationist rather, an environmentalist. You could be an environmentalist. You could be an earth scientist. So these are all interesting and very, very great sustainable career options that you could ever dream of. So thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abubakar. All right, I absolutely loved your presentation. I think everyone here could agree that we learned so much about it. I particularly made a few notes of some key concepts that you had highlighted, such as climate justice and the need for us to be radical. All right, I'm just going to ask persons to please mute their microphone. All right, lovely. So just to recap, we learned about concepts such as climate justice, We also learned about different career paths that we could pursue, such as being a conservationist or perhaps an environmentalist or a scientist, and how we as young people and those living in small island developing states like in Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean countries should definitely take up the charge, because guess what? We have one earth, we have one planet, and we have to do our parts to protect it. So thank you so much. And please don't run anywhere. We have a lot of questions that we definitely want to ask of you, and our students in the audience definitely want to get an opportunity to ask you as many questions as possible. So that was just our science in environment segment. We're making our way now to science in agriculture. And when we think about agriculture, no, it's not just cow and it's not just fish and planting a pepper or corn. No, there's so much more beyond agriculture. And leading the charge on this discussion is none other than Mr. Lance Scott. I'm going to invite to our stage Miss Ariel Miles from Bishop Gibson High School to give the introduction of our last speaker, Mr. Scott. So Ariel, I hope you're here online with us, so please go ahead and make the introduction. All right, I'm just looking for Ariel. All right, I'm not seeing Ariel in the chat, but nonetheless, we press on, and Al will have the honor of introducing Mr. Lance Scott. Now, he is the research and policy specialist with a focus on climate change. And just like how Toby was focusing on climate change, we here also have something aligned just as well. Climate change, rural livelihoods, and climate risk insurance. Those are his key areas. Now, Lance holds a Bachelor's of Science in Geography and Geology and is currently a PhD candidate at the University of the West Indies, Mona. Now, he has worked on several projects, including being a trainer and assistant project manager on projects commissioned by the National Environment Planning Agency, NEPA, through the UWI. He specializes in research design, data collection, data management, data analysis, and monitoring and evaluation. So Lance is our data guru, guys. So you know he's going to come and give us everything that we need to know. And Lance also research focuses rather on weather index insurance. And he has represented Jamaica at the International Dialogue on Creating a Climate and Disaster Risk Finance and Insurance Evidence Roadmap, organized by the Munich Climate Insurance Initiative all the way in Germany, where he contributed to a working paper which went all the way to advising key government officials and other stakeholders and policymakers, international development businesses and agencies, and agribusiness owners. Now, Lance also holds certification in understanding disaster risk financing and economic policy and cartography. He also has always held the belief that small island developing states in the Caribbean are not susceptible to double exposure, but rather multi-exposure, as their internally weak systems reduce their chances of a speedy recovery. He intends to lead the charge by proposing and enacting key and transformational policies that will contribute to the accessibility of climate risk financing across the region. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our last speaker, Mr. Lance Scott, speaking to us about science in agriculture. Mr. Scott, the virtual stage is now yours. All right, Mr. Scott, are you with us? Yes, I see he's here.
All right.
I'm not sure if it's me, but I'm not hearing. Okay, I'm hearing now.
Yes. Okay. All right, great. Thank you. And you know, persons who have great careers ahead of them in the area of STEM. Now, firstly, you know, I must ask forgiveness for not showing my camera. My internet bandwidth is a bit low, so I'm unable to show my camera right now. But I want to throw out a question. Yeah, I want to throw a question out to everyone. Yeah, because oftentimes some pictures in our minds of what agriculture is. Yeah. When you think about agriculture, what comes to mind? I'm throwing that question out. Anyone can take it. You can just raise your hand and and we can have a brief discussion.
Sir, food from the earth or just natural food? Sir, the growing of
Okay.
plants.
So all right, great. Could I get one more person just to indicate, when you all right, I'm not sure if I'm breaking up. Madam
On my
Chair,
end, you're breaking up a little bit.
clearly.
So you're breaking up a little bit for me, Mr. Scott. I'm not sure if that's the same for everyone else. Okay, so Lisa Lindsay said yes, you're also breaking up.
Okay, all right. So I'll try to continue as best as possible then. All right.
All right, Mr. Scott, I'm not hearing anything at all. And I'm also getting a few comments that persons are not also hearing. I'm not sure if you can perhaps leave and come back. Perhaps I'll make it a little better. All right, no worries. The show must go on, and we're gonna give Mr. Scott just a few more minutes to sort out those technical difficulties and glitches. But while we're waiting on that, I want to get an idea and a sense of who I'm speaking with. So I want to see some schools be put in the chat. If we have anyone from KC, if we have anybody from St. Andrew High, anybody from Campion College, anybody from Lennon High, Rocese, I want to get a roll call. So please put in the chat, where are my students from? So we can definitely hail you up. And I also have a question that I want to ask. All right, I see Anthony's from Kingston College. All right, we have a Fortis man in the chat. Anybody else? Do we have anybody from Bishop Gibson High? I see Holy Childhood. Big up yourself, Lisa. I see Tia Moyes also from Holy Childhood High. All right, wait, the chat going off. Give me a minute. All right, Jaden is from Cornwall College. All right. I see another Holy Child High School. Anybody from Woolmer's? I'm a little bit biased because that's my school. Any Woolmer's in the chat? All right, Justine is from Immaculate. Cheyenne is from Holy Childhood, loving it. All right. I want to ask a question just before. All right. Okay. So Mr. Scott is relocating. So we're going to give him a few more minutes. I see Erwin High is in the chat. Big up yourself, Ronaldo Rose. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody from St. Hugh's? Anybody from, let me see, I'm trying to think out of the box. Clarendon College. So we have a good mix here. I love that. That someone is from Clarendon College. Anybody from Monroe? Anybody from JC? I'm trying to go over that side. Anybody from Westwood? Elise is from St. Andrew Technical. I love that. So we have a really good crop of students all over, and I'm so happy that so many of you are interested in STEM related activities. And this is definitely the form that cultivates your mindset to think outside of the box. Everybody can be lawyers and doctors. I mean, I'm a budding attorney, so perhaps I'm throwing shade on myself, but I mean, the opportunities are endless, and we can definitely think outside of the box as other areas of interest that we can pursue within the space of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. All right, I see some questions. All right. Okay, Michael putting some reminders in the chat about our controversial segment. All right, no problem, Michael. And he has also put on his telonym as well. So I think just to give Mr. Scott a few more minutes to come back on, I think we can definitely move on to this segment, Michael, that you would have spoken about before. So Michael has already put them in the chat, and he has also put a link where you can go and put your anonymous feedback on these questions. And I'll just read them out aloud. So, or Michael, I want to also invite you on the stage to come here and assist me in this segment. We're just going to move on here until Mr. Scott comes back. So if you're here with me, Michael, you can turn on your camera and your microphone. I'd definitely love that. So Michael says the instructions are to pick one of the prompts below and offer your honest, controversial opinion, and it's anonymous. So don't worry, we won't know who it is. Some of the questions he asked: is it important to conduct animal experiments? Should human beings seek methods to live on other planets or space, or should we focus on just, let me see, or should we focus on the advancements in technology? Or should we focus on reducing, human impacts of global warming? So should we be thinking about going to Mars like other people at Elon Musk? Or should we perhaps put our efforts in trying to curb the bane of global warming so that Earth can be the place that's sustainable for everyone here? Michael asks, do you believe that global warming is harmful? Is it avoidable based on the advancements in technology, or leading to the development of more harmful materials and gases? Do you think technology is a flaw that improves people's social segregation? Number 5, is Jamaica doing enough to help students gain careers in science or in non-traditional careers? So you have to just give your most honest opinion. So one of these questions by clicking the link that Michael has already put in the chat. And at the end, we're going to read it out and we're going to hear what you have to say, because this is an interactive session. And we want to hear from you, our budding scientists, as to what you think about some of these controversial topics. I'm looking through. Thank you, Tawana. Oh, thank you. I'm very flattered by that. All right, so Mr. Scott is back. I'm here. So Mr. Scott, I'm not going to take up any more of your time. The virtual stage is now yours. All right.
Okay, thank you very much. Are you hearing me clearly?
Perfect.
All right, so you know, due to technical reasons, I will be unable to share a PowerPoint today. Yeah. So I'll just be talking with everybody for today, right? And before I went, I would have asked a question. You know, what does the face of farming, or what does the face of agriculture looks like? Yeah. And oftentimes the picture is very daunting. Yeah. Oftentimes when people think about agriculture, particularly farming, they think about, you know, Farmer Joe in the hills farming yam. I want you to picture that for me. Yeah. Farmer Joe in the hills farming yam. That has been the face of farming for a very long time. Yeah. But with the onset of science and technology, yeah, farming has changed, and how we view farming over time would have changed dramatically. Right? From the things such as fertilizer that we use and the chemical composition of it, you know, 20% nitrogen, 80% potassium, etc. Yeah. The input that we use has also changed dramatically. Now, when we think of agriculture, we have to think about several things. As a matter of fact, let us first establish something. Why do we consider agriculture a science in the first place? Yeah, some people might think that agriculture is not a science. They might only limit science to things such as chemistry, biology, physics. Agriculture is a science because all the technologies for developing certain new crop varieties and the different production technology that you use come from the pure applied and adaptive sciences. So when you are thinking about the fertilizer that a farmer might use that is encompassing, chemistry and biology, because you're taking into consideration certain chemicals that would be used on plants. Yeah. And if you are supposed to think about, certain other agricultural areas such as aquaponics, yeah, and could I get one person, just one person, to indicate to me what they think aquaponics is? You can just open your mic and say.
The question, Lindsay, was what do you think aquaponics means? Anybody perhaps has an idea? I think Mr. Scott perhaps has stepped away just a minute or experienced just a few more challenges, but he'll be back shortly. I see the microphone is open. He's here.
Okay, are you hearing me clearly? Right, so the question was, when we think of aquaponics, what are we talking about? What do we think of? Anyone?
Ecosystem.
Okay, think about ecosystems. All right.
Aquatic animals are like something relating to water or the sea.
All right, excellent. Excellent. Good. So when we talk about aquaponics, we're talking about certain food production systems. Yeah. So things such as raising certain aquatic animals such as fish, crayfish. Yeah. In essence. And you'll be using water. So you'll be pumping water through, say it's a pond, for example. And you'll be using that to raise, say fish and shrimp and so on. So that's what we mean with aquaponics. And that is technology at its finest. It is technology at its finest because you are utilizing all the different tools to make it possible to grow, fish and shrimp in a confined area. Yeah. When we talk about science and technology, we have to talk about things such as genetically modified crops or genetically modified organisms. Yeah. Have we ever heard about that? Just type in the chat if you ever heard about it. Yes or no? Okay, great, great. All right. So things such as genetically modified organism, all right? And I'm gonna bring it a little closer to home. Now, recently, or in recent times, you've had what's called, certain plant-based burgers that are being developed. Yeah, no, this is science. Yeah, this is science because what's called the Beyond Burger, in essence, is a plant-based burger that is designed to look and cook similar to a beef burger. Yeah, we're talking about certain using stem cells in agriculture to create beef that we eat. We're talking about science in agriculture here. So the initial phase all right, if we've ever had the picture of Farmer Joe farming land as what farming looks like or what agriculture is, I'd ask kindly that we throw it out. That's not the case. That is not the case in 2022. In 2022, yeah, and I see where Lisa would have said in the chat that science also use genetics to improve plant-based food quality. Yeah, excellent. So whatever we had before, whatever conceived notion we had about agriculture, let's throw it out. We are in 2022 now. We're looking at things such as hydroponics, yeah, aquaponics, genetically modified organisms. We can take it a step further. Vertical farming, yeah, where instead of utilizing, a massive piece of land, we are, farming upwards. Yeah, this is science in agriculture. And every day there's improvement. Every day we get better and better at doing it. And over time, who knows? Maybe the next person that will develop something great is in this, chat right now. So I want you to open your horizons as it regards to what agriculture means and utilizing science in agriculture. Yeah, there's so many other things that I could touch on as it regards to linking science with agriculture. Yeah, so many others. But I think I'm gonna leave it to these couple things for today in the interest of time. Yeah, things such as hydroponics, things such as aquaponics, things such as genetically modified organisms or crops. Yeah, and things such as, think about the Beyond Burger. If anyone has ever been to the US, they might have tried it before. Yeah, so we are at an unprecedented time, and it continues to grow in terms of science and the use of science in agriculture. I'm going to hand over back to you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Scott. We definitely appreciate it. And despite the technical difficulties, you gave a very fulsome discussion and enlightened us about different areas of STEM in agriculture and telling us, no, it's no longer Farmer Joe, but we can think outside of the box and look at different areas like aquaponics and hydroponics and perhaps pursue those areas. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you heard from our three speakers. And of course, I know Michael had put the activity in the chat, but just before we read out those responses, we're going to tackle some questions because that's what this is after all, a panel discussion. So I know Aziz is still here, Latanya and Mr. Lance is still here as well. So we're going to ask them a couple questions. Just going to perhaps put all of them on the screen now. Just going to pin everyone and ask some questions that we have here. And since you're here with us, lads, I'm going to ask you first to give us a brief description of your career or job. What is it that you get up every morning and go to work and do? Share with us.
All right, thank you very much for that question. I'd say at the core, I'm a researcher. So I go out, I talk with farmers, I interview farmers, and I find out, things such as farming and agriculture. Yeah, I find out how farmers operate, the different type of cropping system they use, how they manage the land that they use. Because if you think about it, as Aziz mentioned earlier, because Aziz spoke extensively about the environment, these small things matter. Yeah, every small thing matter. Because when a farmer cultivates on a slope, for example, yeah, a steep piece of land, and he doesn't practice proper soil management, that can lead to erosion. Yeah, and sometimes these farmers also cut down the trees. So that's deforestation. So basically what I do, I try to go out, I find these kind of information, and I try to formulate solution-based information from these kind of things that I find out from farmers.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask Aziz and Latanya the same question as well. Let's go with the ladies first. Latanya, tell us, what is it that you get up every morning and do? What is it that makes Latanya go, what you do when you go work? Let us know. All right. Okay.
Yes. So I have 2 jobs. So of course, I do research and I deal with the salon. So I need to be at the hospital every single day. And in both the jobs, I have to be dealing with people on a day-to-day basis. So I always have to, even if I'm in a bad mood, put on a smile to deal with patients, especially people that is in pain. You know, they want something and you know, you can't really give it. But yeah, on my day-to-day basis, I work at the hospital. I deal with people in the HIV industry. Then in the afternoon, I will go to the salon and I will try to manage that as best as possible. If something is broken, I need to get that fixed. If there's any queries, I need to deal with that. But that's pretty much how I try to balance my day.
Awesome. So a Jill of all trades and a researcher at the core, just like Lance. And Aziz, we're asking you the same question. What is it that Aziz does on an everyday basis?
All right. So my name is Aziz again. Currently, I work as a sustainability consultant, and I do have a background in civil engineering, but as my passion grew for sustainable development, I chose a career path to move forward with sustainability and innovation. So I'm combining innovation and digital technologies with sustainable approaches to design, you know, campaigns that help to address issues. So I'm currently a global citizen fellow. So I work with global citizen on the campaigns and partnerships departments. So, and we're constantly monitoring trends, such as, like, you know, the recent happening of the Ukraine crisis, and, you know, a lot of other issues like the climate crisis. So I'm constantly monitoring that on a daily basis and figuring out ways to campaign to help address issues like this. So basically, I help to disrupt systems. I transform policy objectives into campaigns that help to disrupt systems and to also provide aid, humanitarian aid to the most affected people by extreme poverty and climate change. So on a day-to-day basis, I'm constantly researching. I'm online, you know, looking at trends, also, you know, interviewing people, meeting with people, and getting to hear their perspectives around issues, around social issues generally. Yeah.
All right.
Over to you.
Thank you so much, Aziz. That's quite a lot. And you seem to be very, very busy. Likewise, Latanya, likewise, Lance. And we're hearing research, we're hearing monitoring, we're hearing dealing with the salon, climate justice, humanitarian aid, policy work, just a flurry of different activities. Now, Aziz, I want to start with you on this question. This forum is here to ensure that our young students have an opportunity to see the world beyond the regular and traditional career paths. So you want them to see STEM as a viable option, as something common they can pursue. Could you talk to us about perhaps the educational preparation, any particular courses or studies that you had to do in order to pave the way for, you know, being in this industry of STEM? So talk to us about that educational preparation as with regard to leading up to your career in STEM.
All right, thank you so much for that question. Firstly, I don't know about you know, other you know, the way the education system is out there in, you know, various communities across the world, but I do know that in my community in Nigeria and most African countries, for instance, you have the option to choose either to be in a science class or to be in the commercial class, or the other one, which is governments also. So the first choice you need to make is to join the science class. So in your high school, right from the high school, you join the science class and start taking science subjects like physics, biology, subjects like you know, chemistry. So these are all subjects that are science related that you need to you know, take. And you know, you need to just start grooming yourself towards, you know, all these science related subjects if you're not already taking them. So you need to groom yourself, you need to prepare yourself, you need to read during that vacation or holiday. And you know, just the curiosity is going to be your way, like, is going to be key to helping you get and thrive in this career path. So you need to be curious, you need to watch watch science related shows online, and even on your TV. On your TV, there's this channel called Discovery Science, and also Discovery World. So when I was much younger, I was fond of watching that channel, and watching channels like Da Vinci Learning, for instance. These are all science related. These are just most of the things that I was watching on TV and also researching online were not things that were actually immediately they were not in my immediate community, but it made me see the potential. It made me see how far science and the STEM related field can get. And, it just grew my passion for that. And that was why I was really, really encouraged and chose to venture into the civil and environmental engineering in my undergraduate levels. So, really, try to, groom yourself towards all the subjects. In terms academics wise, you should be able to at least pass all these subjects, not just even pass them. Try to also go beyond your class. So apart from the things that are being taught in class, also go online, research, like I said, watch videos, expose yourself. The world has gotten so global that you can be somewhere else across the world right from your home, right? And there are lots of resources available online for you to get there. So yeah, that would be my advice. And yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aziz. Quite a mouthful, but I definitely know a lot of us would have benefited. So you did the science courses, you did research, you read, you lived on Discovery Channel and watched science-based movies and shows to sort of cultivate that appetite for going into this area. Latanya, over to you. I want you to walk us through your educational journey. What courses or classes did you pick? What is it that you did to perhaps say, yes, I'm going to go into something STEM related?
Okay, so for me, because I'm talking about two topics today, it's a little bit more tedious because I kind of slipped away from my career path a little bit by opening a salon. But in doing research, I would think you would start from, the CXC sciences. So you would have to do a certain amount of sciences, pass that, and then do the A-level sciences. I would encourage students to at least diversify themselves in college. Try and do a project management course, a marketing course, especially if you feel like you want to be in science but do business. Because maybe you would like to develop a product, get into biochemistry, do your own makeup line, something like that. You kind of need a little bit of a business background to do something like that. You're going to definitely need to know how to write a business plan. So maybe you can pick up a course like that, something to help you understand the economy of the business you're trying to get into, right? But if it's definitely that you want to stick to research, I would say stick to the sciences, and experience is key. You need to read a lot. You need to talk to people. You need to try and get jobs in where you can grow your skills in order to do whatever you want to do in life. And yeah, I would say that is the biggest key right there.
Thank you so much. So what I'm also hearing is that, yes, at the CXC, CSEC level, you do your bio, your chem, your physics, your STEM, your math, your ad math, but perhaps by the time you reach your college, diversify that skill set, add a sprinkle of project management, marketing, just to diversify. And as you would have said, to research, find jobs. Guys, if you can intern somewhere, if you can find a mentor, somebody who's in that space, that would be really helpful to kind of guide your trajectory in the STEM related areas. And last but not least, Lance, I'm asking you the same question. Walk us through your educational process and journey to get where you are in your STEM related career.
All right, thank you very much for that question. I think my journey would have been similar to, Aziz and Latanya in terms of doing the sciences. I think that really is the entry point into whatever you're doing science related. So at the high school level is really where it starts. You commence by doing the CSEC subjects, math, and the sciences. And then, you can decide to transition and do some of that at the CAPE level as well. At the university level now, I'm going to charge you, explore. You would have had a science background, because once you do sciences in high school and you do it at the CAPE level, including at the CAPE level, you, in essence, you have a science background now. When you are at the university level or at a college, I'd say explore, because nowadays, Madam Chair, there's so many careers linked to science.
Excuse me.
As a matter of fact, it's as though each time I hear new careers, some new names. For example, you might hear something called medical computing. Yeah. No, that's interesting. That's fascinating. You might hear something called scientific communication. Yeah. That is interesting. And if you think about, whoever is a scientific communicator, they would have had to have a scientific background. But then they may have been also interested in communications. Yeah. And that cross came in play. So I'd say, explore. Sometimes you can follow your passion and it still can be linked to, STEM in one way or another. Yeah, for me, I continued. I finished high school. I went through university. I did the sciences as well, geography and geology. And then I, continued to master's level to PhD where I am now. But I'd say explore, because even as it regards to, project management, yeah, you can do that as well. You can be a scientist and also be a project manager. Because if you think about it, whenever there's a project, whenever there's a scientific project, you need someone to manage it. And it's better to have someone with a science background than not.
Thank you so much, Lance. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of our panel discussion as we're a little bit pressed for time. But what I'm going to ask our presenters to do, if they're so minded, is to perhaps put some contact information in the chat. That could be an email, an Instagram handles, or Twitter handles, so our students could perhaps reach out to you if they have any further questions. I see one from Lindsay, but what I'm going to do, Lindsay, is move on to our next activity. And if we have just a little bit more time to spare, I'll give you the opportunity to ask it to any one of our presenters. So thank you so much, Lance. Thank you so much, Aziz and Latanya, for sharing with us. And now I'm going to invite Michael to come and have our activity, and then we move on to the closing part of our discussion, of actually our series. So Michael, I'm handing over to you now, so please come and play your activity with us so we can have some fun.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Campbell. Okay, so as I explained before, and I've been sending the chat reminders, basically have a controversial opinion segment where I sent you some, prompts, some ideas or questions, and you can comment your views on it, no matter how honest or how mundane. So I will share my screen now, and we'll go through some of our responses. Can I share screen? Yes, I can. Okay, are you seeing this now?
It's loading. All right, yes, seeing it now, Michael.
Okay, so our first one, I think this is in response to the experimentation prompt. I think that's number 2 or number 3. I don't have them memorized. So this person says, no, it's not important to experiment on animals. We have technology. For me personally, that's vague, because we have technology, so what? And secondly, yes, I still do believe experimentation on animals is not the worst thing. Like, us having technology does not change its does not change its relevance. What say you?
I agree, especially when you said we have technology, so what? I mean, yes, it's
Yeah,
there.
that's
but
so
is it
open-ended.
as
Like,
yeah, it's not, is it as advanced to the point where, you know, we can use it and know that no matter what, humans will be safe because technology said so. So the closest thing we have right now is animals. That's all we have to use. So unless there is a viable or suitable option, or, you know, some other thing that we can use right now, I think we have to kind of look past, not necessarily look past harming animals, but just come to the understanding that if you're not going to make it, and if someone's not going to make it, then you have to use what you have.
same thing, Mr. Too. Let's see. Next one. Oh, wait, am I audible? I'm not sure.
Yes, you
Yes, you
are.
are.
I can still be heard. Okay, good. So the second one is Jamaica doing enough to help students gain careers in science and non-traditional careers? Okay, so long story short, no, Jamaica is not doing enough to help students gain careers in science. This is because Jamaica is a low-income country, yes, compared to other countries like the United States. I think the main reason is that Jamaica lacks resources. They can't provide the things we need. That's why people often go overseas to study the sciences. Also, in Jamaica, many people study other things rather than science, like business. Studying the sciences is very expensive, yes, and a large amount of people simply cannot afford it. In conclusion, no, Jamaica is not doing enough to help students gain careers in science and non-traditional careers. Okay, again, I'd like to go first. This touches on many things, such as dependency theory. We are an undeveloped nation, and they did quote America, which is an advanced, modern, and industrialized nation. So they do have a diverse economy, so they can provide many careers in STEM. There are industries for all sorts of things. Anything you want to be, material science, AI, machine learning, nanotechnology, all of that. Yes, it is expensive, and students often do go overseas. And what happens is when students go overseas, they're not incentivized to come back. That leads to brain drain, you know, all that stuff. The professionals don't come back. The economy stays like low diversity. We're still depending on tourism, we're still depending on mining, on our sugar. And then new like students coming up who are interested in STEM careers see an economy with a low diversity and choose to leave again, which creates this loop. So while obviously yes would be the answer, what can we do?
Michael, I'm not sure if, as the moderator, I have the opportunity to participate, but I'm going to
Sure.
be
Sure.
cheeky. I think there was advocate, and I would say that, as you rightly said, we are a developing nation, so we're not going to reach the point as the United States, but it would be remiss of us not to perhaps highlight the strides that have been made to make sure that STEM is more attractive and for students to pursue them. Currently, the Ministry of Finance and Science and Technology has a plethora of scholarships for students to study, from climate technology, medicine, and so many other STEM-related courses abroad. In addition, I just saw yesterday UCA Caribbean has a job fair, and 5 internships slots are only for programming, for data analytics, and STEM-related activities. And every minute on Twitter, companies like Caribbean Girls Hag and other entities are often posting either workshops or internships or virtual mentorship sessions, and even scholarships, perhaps even Minds of Jamaica, to get students to have an opportunity to study something related in STEM. So I'm being cheeky here by saying, while we can understand that it's not on the level of the United States, we can also give a little props to where we see progress and students are seeing it as a viable opportunity. Plus, there are a lot more scholarships for STEM related courses than like what I study, which is law, because everybody wants STEM and nobody's giving law students any money. But that's just me being a little bit cheeky there and perhaps adding to the discussion. I'm going to throw back to you.
Well, okay, so a number of things. One, well, yeah, sure. Not many students are turning to law, but as you know, Jamaica has a plethora of lawyers. And I say a plethora, I mean like they are everywhere. that's one of the few job markets that are oversaturated. So it would be wise of the students to try to find an alternative route. And then on to STEM. Okay, yes, so there are strides being made, sure, progress. You know, any little progress is progress, I can admit. However, I must say I don't think it's been done fast enough. Um, Students overall are still not inspired, are not motivated to go after science because, okay, fine, there are scholarships. Hard to find scholarships, but there are scholarships. I can see that there are scholarships and somehow I'll be able to go through this and afford it. What next? I studied climate science. I perhaps studied biochemistry, some molecular biology, all of that. I don't think the economy, like the industry, is vast enough to accommodate my skill, my unique niche skill or profession. So still, students coming up who want to study STEM, they can do it, but then after they leave, so what? Become a banker, work a call center. It's like, what was the point?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
we're
you're
here.
audible.
Okay, great. So kind of piggybacking off of what Michael said and taking a point from you, Ms. Campbell. You said that yes, scholarships are available and stuff like that, but would you say that we're tackling the issue from the root? Because how it seems to me is that we're starting at the end of the problem instead of starting at the beginning. Because what we find is that a lot of persons, especially if you don't attend a traditional high school, you or even a prep school, you don't get the opportunity to be exposed to STEM as much as you probably should be, or you don't get that idea of STEM as something that's interesting rather than something that is hard, which is what we find majority of our Jamaicans thinking, especially when it comes down to math, right? So are we tackling the problem from the root? Because a lot of persons just aren't doing STEM subjects. As soon as they get the opportunity to drop it, they're just done right there. So yeah, that's the first thing that we need to change, because they're offering these scholarships and you're trying to make it look attractive, but at the same time, are we even qualified enough at the university level to be giving out these scholarships when there are simply no student who is there to get these scholarships, simply because when they were younger, STEM just did not look like an attractive area.
Couldn't have said it better. I agree. I concur. So if there's no other input on that point, we're moving on to a question 3 answer.
Oh, Michael?
Yeah.
I'm just
sorry?
gonna, yeah, it's Tomo here. So we're a little bit pressed for time. So unfortunately, that would perhaps have to be the last question because we have to wrap up now. I'm so sorry to cut you off, but we have to wrap up. I'm getting the wrap up signal, so I think we have to close out now. Perhaps if you could read one quick one and don't give any commentary, we could perhaps squeeze it in.
Okay, so question 3 answer, global warming is definitely harmful and we can reduce our carbon output. So at the same time, more emphasis needs to be placed on the creation of protective materials, chemicals to protect the environment, because there's absolutely no way we can altogether stop carbon emissions with a decreasing infant mortality rate and increasing life expectancy. Okay, this went through 2 or 3 different places.
All right. Thank you so much, Michael. We have to reserve the commentary, but thank you. And also Justine and everyone who participated and those who also shared their thoughts on the controversial issues. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in everything, gratitude is a must. And I'm going to now invite to our virtual stage none other than Mr. Daniel Campbell, and he is the Public Relations Officer for the SSTS, representing Norman Mandy High School, to give the vote of thanks. Daniel, over to you. Daniel, are you with us? All right, so I'm not sure if Danielle is perhaps having a few technical difficulties or challenges. All right. I'm not sure. Danielle? All right, just hold on for a minute. All right, no problem. So Daniel is having a few challenges, but nonetheless, I am going to take on the noble honor of doing the vote of thanks. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, educators or panelists, to all those here huddled in Zoom land, on behalf of the Scientific Research Council and the SSTC team for putting on this amazing event, we want to thank you for showing up and showing out. Your participation was most felt. We loved your commentary, we loved your discussion, and we loved everything that you brought to the table. A special thank you, of course, to our panelists, Latanya, Lance, and Aziz, for unearthing and sharing so much information about STEM-related activities and careers, and how we can perhaps open our mind and pique our interest to looking outside of the box to pursue other career paths. You, our audience, for just participating and being awesome as we were here for the hour and a half. I thank you so much. To Michael and Justine for coordinating the activity and sharing their commentary, thank you so much. You are a reflection of what is good and right with Jamaica, and I'm so happy and can't wait to see you guys going out in your different and respective fields in STEM, blazing a trail and being change makers as you rightly do so. So on behalf of the entire team, and just want to thank all of you here for sitting with us, and thank you so much for coming to the Science in Beauty, Environment, and Agriculture webinar series. Please support and participate in all the upcoming activities put on by the Scientific Research Council. You can definitely reach out to them on Instagram and via telephone to keep up to date with the latest happenings. And ladies and gentlemen, it was my distinct pleasure to be your moderator for this series. Please be safe, stay safe, relax, and enjoy the rest of your day. I am Tamoy Campbell signing out, and I want to thank you so much. Love and light, be blessed, and thank you once again for coming to our Science in Beauty, Environment, and Agriculture webinar series. Thank you and goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.